Let me go ahead. This is my inside OBS screen. We're going to go ahead and switch to this versus screen. So there's your animation, just a one, then the versus comes in, then another. So let's go ahead and show you how I did that real quick. So what we're using to do this is the Move Transition plugin, version 1.7.8. I'll put a link to this in the description below, but you can get this directly from OBS Project. Now the first thing you're going to need is an image that is in layers that can be animated. So let's go ahead and open up GIMP here. This is our final image. This is what we wanted to have on the screen. But if you look over to the right, every single screen is its own individual full screen sized image. And these don't have to be full screen sized. I made the V and the S full screen just to make it easier. And obviously there's our background. Alright, so what you want to do after you're done here is you want to export each of these as an individual file, an individual PNG file preferably. And then you want to go ahead and import them into OBS as 5 individual sources. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use that Move Transition plugin, but we're not going to use it on the sources. We're going to use it on the actual scene itself. So let's go ahead and create this from scratch so you can see what I'm talking about. So let's go ahead and go a new scene. We'll call this Demo Scene and Demo Animation. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add the background. Now all these images are already in here, so I'm just going to add existing. And there's the versus background right there. Okay, that background is fine. We're going to go ahead and add the rest of our images just the same way. We're going to go ahead and add the Rivals logo. That's a really giant Rivals logo. We're going to go ahead and resize it here in a minute. We'll just put that over in the corner where it goes. Next up, we're going to add, don't need the stream frame, Team Shadow logo. Even bigger, more giant logo, because the bigger your logo, the more detail you can get. So let's go ahead and shrink that down. Again, just shrink it down, and we'll throw them in the upper right-hand corner where it goes. Alright, next up, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add the V and the S. Now again, those are two completely separate images. So we've got versus S. Okay. And we've got one more image. We've got the versus V. Now at this point, since you have everything where you want it, you want to make your ending screen look the way you want. So I want the Rivals of Red logo to be just a little bit smaller here, so it's seen right up to the versus there, and the Team Shadow logo right there. Okay, from here we're going to go over to Demo Animation, and we're going to right click and we're going to click Filters. We're going to add 4 filters because we have 4 moving parts, 4 move sources. I like to name these, so we're going to call this TS Move. We're going to add one more. That is Rivals of Red Move. We're going to add one more. That is V Move. Remember, the V and the S are moving separately. They are not one. And one last, we're going to call this the S Move. Okay. Now, when you go into each of these filters, there's a whole bunch of, and unfortunately I don't think I can expand too much of this. Yeah, I don't get a whole lot down here. So what you want to do, the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure whatever you're moving is in the right place. So I'm moving the Team Shadow, so let's select our source as Team Shadow logo. And since it's where we want it to be, at the very start you want to click this Get Transform button. Okay? At this point, what you want to do is you want to physically move the source to where you want it to start from. So I want this Team Shadow logo to start right up here. So I'm just going to move it out of the way. Now next we're going to change some of the timing here. Now I like to add a start delay, I like to add a start delay here of 500 milliseconds. Most of your scene transitions are 300 milliseconds, and we'll make sure to override any other scene transitions. So you have 300 milliseconds, you have a little pause, then the animation starts. That way you're not cutting off the beginning of your animation. The duration of all of these are going to be 750 milliseconds. It's almost a second, but not too bad. And lastly, 1750 is going to be the end delay. Now, after the end, the next move is going to be reverse it. So what that's going to do is that's going to tell it to come down, wait 1750 milliseconds, and then go right back up. And our start trigger is going to be show. So when we show this scene, it's going to start. Let's go ahead and move on to the Rivals of Red logo. So we're moving the Rivals of Red logo. We're going to go ahead and get transform here. Our start time on everything. Now on this is going to be 2000 milliseconds because I have 500 here and then 750 more, which puts me to 1250, and then you add 750 more to 1250, and that gives me 2000 milliseconds before I want this to start moving into the frame. The duration on all of these is going to be 750 milliseconds, and the end delay is going to be 1000 milliseconds. That gives you a chance to see the full logo before it goes back out. Again, this is going to be show, and the next move is going to be just reverse. Everything else you can leave the same. Alright, with V, we're going to be editing the versus V. We're going to go ahead and get transform because it's where it needs to end at. Now the V and the S have the same. They're going to both start at 1250. That's immediately after the first logo stops moving. It's going to be 750 as the duration. And the end delay on both of these is 1500. Now technically if you add that up it should be 1250, but I like the versus to stay just a little bit longer. That's just kind of an artistic choice there, but feel free to play around with that. Try 1250 if you like them all to move out at the exact same time. Start trigger is going to be show, and next move is going to be reverse, and we're going to copy all those settings onto versus S. Get transform. There we go. Alright, so start delay is 1250. Duration is 750. And end delay is 1500. Leave all that the same. Show, and next move is going to be reverse. Okay, the last thing we need to do is we need to move the rest of these off of the screen. So let's go ahead and move the V off the screen, just off the screen. Oop, there we go, right about there, looks good. Let's move the S off the screen. So lock it in so it comes straight in. Just right there, looks good. And lastly, let's go ahead and move the Rivals logo straight down and lock it into this corner. So now we should have, as you're streaming, if we go to our demo animation and I did everything correctly, we should have works great. And you're not limited to just those logos. I actually made one for some Pokemon as well. Of course, two of my favorite Pokemon right there. But there you have it. That's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this has been really, really informative on how to make a simple animation in OBS. And you guys have a great day.